Alright, so now we have the boomerang, which is kind of useless. Again, this is, you know, beginner Zelda, so they don't... It's not like it is now, where every item has its own use, and you need to get out. You need it to get out of the dungeon or anything. Alright, there's a fairy up top. I always get mixed up as to which dungeons are where. Alright, this was... Okay, I got it right. This is the second dungeon over here. Well, the second dungeon is up. Right now we're going to do this. This is level 8. This is the 8th dungeon. I don't recommend trying it yet, but you can actually get the 2 items that are in that dungeon early. The first one you can get if you go to the left. There are some strong enemies, so you got to be careful. But we have the blue ring right now, which is the strongest armor that the game lets you get before the last dungeon. It'll help if you have the stronger sword, but you don't need it. You can get the spell book, which won't do anything on its own, but when you get the magic wand will shoot, the blast will turn into fireballs when they hit something, which is kind of useful. The other item, you need the arrows, because I think you have to kill a Goma, which is the spider boss. I think you need to kill one of those in order to get to it. But the second arrow is a master key, which is very useful, but again, not necessary, because if you know where you're going, you end up with an abundance of keys, so it's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, I think this is level 2. Let's go this way. This is another dungeon where you can get to everything that you need to without using keys. So you should stockpile a bunch of keys here. This is the Crescent Moon. There's a few levels to the left. Then this goes straight up with rooms on the side. Don't use any of the keys on the side. I think all these enemies are linked to one. So you kill one and then they all die. But it won't matter. Yeah, all of these are linked, and then see, like right there, I can go over, and then I believe I can bomb all the way up to the other rooms. And I don't think it's this one. It might be the next one that is... Oh no, it's this one. The blue guys, I think they were Garayas. They have an item in here. And there we go. And yeah, you can bomb up and down on that room and get to other rooms, but not necessary. There isn't a whole lot of absolutely necessary stuff. There's, you know, the item and then the boss. Another key. I think one of those doors locks behind me when I go to the right, so I just don't feel like having it locked behind me. Ropers will launch themselves, and if you're in one of their direct paths. Alright, don't worry about that bomb, because I'm maxed out on bombs and the boss needs them. Two bombs, no problem. Go back. And we're maxed out on bombs again. Nice and simple. Now the boomerangs don't really, again, they don't really give us much access to anything else. The next two items, the raft and the ladder, they'll give us access to heart containers that are out in the wild. So we'll go and get those. 94 rupees. Let's see here. We'll leave that one standing. Let's grab the Candelo. Whoops. For some reason, I remember one of these as being... might have been second quest. Anyway, no big deal. If I'm remembering it right, it was just money. God, don't you wish you could say that in real life? Yeah, I got lucky with those bombs earlier, but if you don't get that lucky, you just come here and buy bombs. Now the arrow will use 1 rupee for every time I fire it. It's not. There's only a few enemies that it's really, really useful for. And then, of course, the last boss. So realistically, you can get by on this whole game firing 1 arrow. These are easy to kill, so I never leave one of those alive. Let's go this way. Actually, put the boomerang back on. I like the boomerang. Like the angled shots. Just looks cool. Looks stylish. As opposed to if I threw a boomerang in real life, which would probably just be an embarrassment. It's one of those silly things that, you know, it's, as a kid you'd see it in cartoons and everything, and I always kind of wondered what it would be like to actually throw one. I remember when I was a kid, I think Nerf used to sell like a triangle boomerang. It was, you know, instead of the L shape, it was like 3-pronged, which I always kind of was interested in, but I lived in an urban area, which, you know, tight, like row homes and everything like that, so that area was not very conducive to throwing a boomerang. Alright, these things will split into the smaller ones if you don't have the white sword, or the magic sword as they called it in this game. That's why they paced everything very well. Even without getting heart containers, as long as you did the levels in order, you'd have enough hearts to get the white sword. There's only one area that didn't do that, and it's level 4. Level 4 has enemies that split up that way, but you can't possibly have the sword that stops that before that. Alright, these only from the side or the back. They're kind of a pain. Bombs actually do really well. Again, the bombs won't hurt them from the side or from the front, but since they kind of walk around, you can hit them pretty well with it. I especially like that in the level 8 where I told you can get the magic key or the master key and the book. It makes it a little bit easier. You can burn a lot of resources going into that area to get those items early. But if you're... It's sort of a catch-22. If you're not too familiar with this game, it might be easier than just looking for the keys and killing all the enemies to get the keys. But if you're good enough to know that you can get those items early, it's not a big deal. You're good enough at the game anyway, so that's not really a problem. Best thing you can do, put a block between you. I mean, these guys aren't too much of a problem, but later on, the blue ones, they're kind of a pain. Okay, see, I mentioned those things earlier. If you bump into them, they'll take your sword ability for a little while. In the second quest, there are red ones and blue ones. The blue ones, or the red ones, will take your sword almost permanently. You know, again, unless you visit a fairy or you use a potion. The blue ones will restore it. But the blue ones aren't always in the same room as the red ones. Short work of that guy. When you fight them, just try and place the bomb so you get as many as possible, because it'll move a little faster every one you kill. So it's easier to just get as many of them as you can in one shot. Alright, so we have the raft. That'll actually give us access to the fourth dungeon, which is not far away, so we're going to do that. I didn't mean to kill that guy. Well, I threw a sword bolt to kill him, but I shouldn't have. Alright. Now there's a key over here again. You know, if you see, I have 7 keys. You know, you can, at this point, you can start skipping a few of them. It's not really a big deal, but I always like to get at least 10 of them. Okay, these guys here. When you have the magic sword, that's strong enough to kill them in one hit. But you can't get the magic sword before this dungeon. That's why I've gotten all the heart containers I can in the outside world at this point. And except for the one that I got the raft for that, but I would still need 2 more. Oh, those rooms can be highlighted with the candle. Yeah, it's just, you know, if it's not obvious, I've kind of played this game a lot. Alright, there's one of those red river type things that goes across there, so I can't get to it yet. Or I can't get to that door. Alright, that's 2 of them? Come on. There we go. Our first encounter with... See, I couldn't use the sword for a while. First encounter with likes. Probably the weirdest name for an enemy. There's a joke in there about hating likes, but it's too easy, we're not going to go for it. And I'm sure it's been made 1,000 times already. Alright, that's the ladder. That's pretty much the last. Well, that's the last one that you need to get a heart container. So now we can get the last of the few heart containers that are out in the world. Yeah, these guys will keep regenerating because you haven't technically killed them all the way. In order to kill them, you need to actually destroy them with one hit. A lot of unnecessary stuff. This is when they start throwing bosses at us. for no reason. Gets worse later on. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I usually do this. I think you can go every direction. Yeah. Yeah, because this is the snake. It's supposed to be shaped like kind of like a snake. Which it, again, if you stretch your imagination, yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. But yeah, I don't know if that room is supposed to be the eye or what. If it's like a hole in the coil of the snake. No problem at all.